So 60 days ago, I started a brand new Etsy shop in what is probably one of the most saturated niches on Etsy. And I did this because I wanted to take it upon myself to prove to you that as long as you do things correctly on Etsy, it is still very possible to make sales no matter who you are and no matter what product you want to sell. So if you're new to this channel, my name's Alfie and I became a multi-six-figure Etsy seller in just 2 years, and now I help you guys to create and also improve your own online businesses. And so this store that I started was actually selling mugs in the print-on-demand business model. And now, if any of you have spent any time on Etsy, you'll know just how saturated the market is on Etsy for selling mugs. But the main reason why I wanted to choose such a saturated niche to start this new shop in is because if I actually did manage to make some pretty decent sales volumes after just 60 days, then, in my opinion, there is no better way to prove that what I'm actually saying about Etsy works and that the tips and the strategies are actually proven to be making sales in the long term, no matter what shop you're starting with. But of course, this also massively puts my reputation on the line because as an Etsy YouTuber, can you imagine if I make no sales? That would be pretty bad, right? But nevertheless, I wanted to do it anyway. So just as a quick recap, I did a previous video showcasing the first 30 days of this shop, where after the first 30 days, I got to a point where I made 7 sales and £125 in revenue or $157, which at the point after the first 30 days, I thought was pretty reasonable. And so did things actually end up being as promising after 60 days as what they started to look after 30 days? So I'm just gonna go straight up and reveal how much I actually made on this new mug store to you right now. So, as you can see here, after a total of 60 days with this new mug store, I made a total of 821 English pounds and 5 pence, which equates to $1,037 with a total of 73 orders made. And now, if that doesn't sound like a lot to you and that doesn't sound exciting, that's probably because you don't quite know how Etsy works yet, all right? So to me, when I look at this and I also compare it to the first month's sales, I get very excited because I've spent enough time on Etsy to know that when you start a new shop, things are always slower in the first month. But when you start making a few good sales, Etsy becomes very much a snowball effect. And to prove this to you, I just want to do a direct comparison against my own original first Etsy shop which I created. So you can see here the mug shop made £20 in February, £261 in March, and then £539 in April. So a very clear upwards trend, right? And if you compare that against my Japanese tableware shop, you can see again in the first few months sales again were very slow, but of course after the shop's reputation starts to grow with Etsy and your shop's reviews and your sales history just starts to improve, it becomes much more of a snowball effect. And as you can see here, this actually ended up with me making 24 grand in a single month with my main Etsy shop. So, by no means am I saying I'm gonna make 24 grand in a month selling mugs, but the point I'm trying to make is that it looks very promising that there's already that massive upwards trend month by month with this new store. So, as long as I keep putting the time in, there's kind of no real initial end in sight as to where this store could actually be taken. But look, I totally understand you guys aren't here just to see how much I made, all right? You wanna know how I did it, you wanna know what the profit margins are, you want to know how long it took me to make this store, what sort of time input that I have on a daily basis. So I'm going to go through all of that good stuff right now. So this store, like I said, was made in the print on demand business model. And essentially all this means is you're essentially putting your own design, which you make online, you're uploading that onto a print on demand supplier who literally just focuses on stocking white label goods, that you can put your design on. You then get a fancy little mock-up image of what the good will look like with the design printed on it, and then you market this on Etsy for sale, and then only when a customer buys that product from Etsy does the print supplier who's holding your design and the white label goods then actually print your design onto the product and ship it directly to the customer. So this is an incredible business model because I didn't have to hold any stock at all. I didn't have any substantial upfront costs, and I'm not doing any of the packaging or any of the order fulfilling myself at all. It's literally all done completely for me in the programs I'm using. And if you're interested to learn more about print on demand, I've got a ton of other videos on it on my channel. It's very straightforward once you understand how, but yeah, feel free to check them out in your own time. But anyway, let's start talking profits. And so on my mug store, I sold every single mug in 2 different sizes, 11 ounce and 15 ounce. And now the 11 ounce mug I sold for £10.50 or $13.27. Whereas the 15 ounce mug I sold for £13.50 or $17.06. And now the cost to produce and ship the 11 ounce mug from Printify was $9.44. So this gave me a profit margin for the 11 ounce mug of $3.83, which I think is pretty reasonable just for a small, fairly cheap 11 ounce mug. But now this is where the big boys come in, and the cost to produce and ship the 15 ounce mug from Printify was $11.06, which means for every 15 ounce mug I sell, I was making a profit of exactly $6 per mug, which is pretty decent to be fair. Like, that's a nice cappuccino, that's a nice coffee, whatever you want, it's pretty good. And I just want to say as well, with my mug store, I actually offered completely free shipping, which I know not a lot of other stores actually do. So there is probably more scope there to actually increase the prices and, kind of increase that overall order value if I did charge for shipping, which obviously, yeah, could push my profit margins up even higher. And another thing I would say as well is over time, as some of my listings start becoming best sellers on Etsy, I will be increasing the price ever so gradually, maybe just by like $1 a month, say, as long as the item keeps selling, because this has always been my strategy. I think start at a very average base price point, get a listing to be one of the best sellers, then start increasing it, because it's already picked up that traction with Etsy. It's going to keep getting good sales and you're just going to end up earning a lot more profit. And look guys, I do just want to say to you as well that this business really wasn't that challenging to set up at all. So I'm just a very normal guy from Bristol. I have no degree, never went to college. I'm not that technically gifted with anything online at all really. And I managed to do it myself and make some pretty good sales volumes. But of course, the thing that did massively help me was my previous 3 years of experience and grinding on Etsy, which of course makes a massive difference as to whether a business is actually going to be set up to succeed or it's just going to fail by the wayside. So, as you know, one thing I absolutely love to do is work with you guys. I've made all the mistakes so that you don't have to. And if any of you are interested in just setting up a business, working directly with me, so we'll completely set up the business together, step by step, or maybe if you already have a business and you're just looking to take it to the next notch, feel free to book in a call with me. I'd love to have a chat, see if we're a good fit to work together. It's something I absolutely love to do. And I've helped a few of you start your own businesses now and start making sales online. It's just a real passion of mine, but yeah. If you wanted to get in contact, there's a link in the video description to schedule a free introductory call, see if we're a good fit, completely up to you. But now I want to move on and I want to start talking about my actual sales strategy for this mug store that allowed me to make over $1,000 in revenue in just the first 60 days. So one of the main things I did from the start was I really wanted to focus on a store selling one product, hitting multiple different audiences, rather than trying to mess about selling like 4, 5, 6 different types of products and only targeting one audience, say. So this is a big mistake that I see a lot of people make. They try and put loads of different product types on their store and then they try and just hit one audience. So say this could be something like a dog audience, for example. So they'll make like a mug, or loads of mugs with dog designs. They'll make, say, like a phone case in a dog design. Then they'll add like a water bottle with some dog designs on it. And no matter what products you're selling, you're just gonna be targeting one audience. And I think you're much better off selling one product, for example, like I did mugs, targeting many different types of audiences. So say people that are interested in dogs, cats, mountains, outdoors, camping, cars, people that have different jobs. So you could have like teachers, workers, doctors, anything like that. So suddenly then you've got one product, but you're hitting loads of different people. And it's just gonna be so much better in the long run for scaling your store and just getting much more different variation of people coming to your store and buying different products. So yeah, that's one of the main points of my strategy, which I think really helped me. Of course, one of the other major things is actually putting designs on products that you know are gonna sell, so that you're not just then wasting loads and loads of your own time creating loads of designs that nobody even wants. So the main thing I did for this was to just literally go on Etsy, find a load of best-selling mugs already, and basically take a look at the designs, see what people are buying, see what's really popular, and then essentially I just made my own designs very similar to these. So say for example, I found a best-selling mug design which had a picture of a Highland cow on it. Well, immediately that would click in my head to say, all right, Highland cow, this is obviously a very popular animal that people are searching for on Etsy, and they want gifts with Highland cows on. So what did I do? I immediately went over to my mug shop. I made 10 different mug designs, all featuring Highland cows on, and some of these ended up becoming some of my best sellers. And you know, everything I'm saying, it really isn't rocket science. On this channel, as you know, we always just talk about facts. So let's make sure we spend time on what we actually know is working, and also just complete simplicity. Like, it doesn't have to be a complicated game selling online, and don't let anybody out there tell you that it has to be. And yeah, just one of the key things is just finding those winning designs, and then of course, you then have to just market them correctly and market them extremely well, so that you actually then stand the chance of selling those similar designs against the competition. And one of the best ways that I did with this in my store is I actually went onto Etsy and I invested a little bit of money in actually purchasing some high quality mock-ups, right? So I always say this, your thumbnail images on Etsy are so important, and it's totally worth that little bit of investment, because you got to think, if nobody clicks on your product, then literally nobody even gets the chance to buy your product on Etsy. Getting that first click is so important. And then of course, another thing which I always do anyway, but especially when you're starting a new store, it is extremely important, and this is to just offer exceptional customer service. So if I literally had any question come through, I'd reply straight away. Anybody that purchased an item, I'd be messaging them directly, asking if everything was okay. You know, did your order arrive right? Are you happy? If you are happy, would you feel comfortable leaving a review for us? Like, we're a new store, it would help us out massively. And you know, just getting those few sales and those first few reviews coming in, it's gonna help your shop just tenfold. It's gonna be so important to getting your shop off the mark. And yeah, guys, in a nutshell, that is pretty much my very simple strategy. That's pretty much all there is to it. As I keep saying, Etsy is not a complicated platform. Don't try and overcomplicate it. Normally when you try and overcomplicate it, it actually does the opposite effect and you end up just not making any sales at all. But yeah, like I keep saying, the overarching factor that determines success above all of this is to just keep going with your shop. And I said, if you want to work directly with me, I've kind of got the experience, I've got the tickets and the receipts to prove it. Feel free to drop me a free call. But otherwise, thanks so much for watching this video, and I wish you the best of luck in your Etsy journey, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers, guys.